Hello everyone, good afternoon, welcome to my broadcast. Thank you for joining me, Eric. Thank you everyone. Welcome. So my name is Amy Rucco and I'm going to be talking today about a good age to allow, you know what, I'm gonna move because I'll come back here. Hello Eric, thank you for joining me again. I'm moving because my screen was a little bright. I don't want to blind everybody. Thank you, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Hi, Tana 10. Is it Tana 10? Thank you for joining me. My name is Amy Rucco, and I'm going to be talking today a little bit about why. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Thank you for joining me. The Search 333. So we're going to be talking today a little bit about what a good age is to allow your kids to have cell phones, if at all. My name is Amy Rucco, and I'm a parent coach. Hi, Jay Chase. I'm a parent coach, and I also help parents with dyslexic kids raise happy, healthy, secure adults, or becoming secure adults, that in a world that does not understand them. So I'm all about positive parenting and learning healthy ways to parent our kids so that they become healthy adults. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for inviting your followers. Please invite your followers if you haven't already done so. And if you're not following me, please tap on the little Perry-do to join me. Thank you for the love. So again, let's start talking about why does anyone here have children, and have you allowed cell phones? Put a 1 if you have allowed a cell phone in your house with your children. And if you don't have children, a 1. Okay, so you have, the search you have. What's your name, the search? So I can, if you haven't identified yourself by name, okay, so you have allowed for cell phones. Janie, thank you, Janie. I appreciate that. Tell me your name so I know how to refer to you. Thank you very much. So we have 2 with children that have cell phones. My children, well, one of them does. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think that you have to know your child, first of all. You have to know whether or not they're responsible enough to handle a phone. But I'm a firm believer that by forbidding phones or preventing them from having phones, it becomes the forbidden fruit. Not only that, but it becomes a teaching tool if you allow them to have it. It's part of their world. The way I see it is it's part of their world. They have to learn. It depends on the environment they're in. Yes, I agree with you, Eric. It does depend on the environment they're in. But I think it's a teaching tool nonetheless. And they have to learn how to manage this tool. This is part of their lives. So the way I've handled it with my child, she has a phone because she has to manage getting home from school. 2 girls, 19 and 6. Okay, so does the 6-year-old, I'm assuming the 6 does not. I gave my son a phone when he went to high school so he could keep in touch with me, pick up times. Yes. Well, I think that's an important reason to have a phone. Exactly. My 12-year-old has a phone for the exact same reason. But there's another reason to have a phone. And it's because there are some dangerous apps out there. There are some dangerous tools. Thank you, Jason Dancing Crane, for joining. There's some dangerous apps, dangerous tools, and we have to, as parents, teach our kids how to use their phones, how to use social media, and how to be responsible. And if we forbid them from using these phones, we can't do that. So I think, and if we forbid them from getting the apps, every challenge is an opportunity. Exactly, Eric, exactly. And so if we, as parents, because of our fear and we're afraid to allow them to experience the worst, so we choose to shelter them, we prevent them from learning vital skills. So if we take it as an opportunity to teach them how to manage it, and the way I handle it with my daughter is she knows that we have limits and that she's not allowed to post photos of herself, and she has to run things by me before she posts anything. She has one account that she's allowed to use, and we go through it together. She knows that that's something that we talk about. We have to allow them to grow. Exactly. We can't shelter them. This is a world they have to live in and they have to learn to manage. And if we shelter them or forbid them, they're going to find a way, and they're not going to learn it from you. They're not going to learn the right way to do it. They better learn from you than from their friends. Exactly. They're going to learn from somewhere. And if they're curious enough, they're going to find a way, and it's not going to be the way you want them to. So by teaching them in a way that opens the lines of communication, one, they'll feel more connected with you because you're telling them it's okay. Let me just help you learn how to do this correctly. Let me teach you how to manage it. And you're going to teach them responsibly, and it allows them to be more open with you, to come to you when they have questions about it, when they want to know more. I'm actually going to show you something too, so please stay to the end because I have something that I do want to show you that's important for us all to know about. And it's a particular app that I think as parents, we need to know exists, because it's one of those things that I think for the kids that don't know about it, and it's something to talk about with them. This conversation is really not about the cell phone, but it's about stages of growing up. You're right, Eric, it is about stages of growing up. There's going to be increments of every child's life where you have to step in as a parent. And cell phone is a vehicle to talk about this subject right now. It's something that we can use as a tool, but there are going to be so many other opportunities where these types of things come up, and how we choose to address them. Either we address them by opening up those lines of communication and saying, come to me. Headphones with no service by 15, by 16 we had time to teach them management. Yes. Dancing Crane, what's your first name? If you could let me know so I can address you. But yeah, exactly. And if you can certainly do it that way, where they have a phone where they have certain access. Kimberly, thank you. Kimberly, where they have certain access, but they are limited, and then they gain rights as they move along. So that has to come from you, and you have to determine when that is the right time. But I think opening up those lines of communication early on. Thank you for coming here and opening this kind of conversation. Thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate that. I think there's so many other things that where this comes into play. And when you're, for my son, we're going to be probably giving him a phone soon, just because he's dyslexic. And for a dyslexic kid, you may not know this, but they have a really hard time remembering numbers. So his phone number is not something that is come top of mind for him. So I don't want him to be somewhere where he can't remember his phone number and needs to get a hold of us. So if I'm going to give him access to us and make sure he's safe, I'm going to give him a phone and teach him the responsible way to do it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. And if you have a child that has a disability, or if you have a child that has certain needs, this is an opportunity to give them a tool that will help them be more successful. 10-year-old wants a phone, but I feel she's too young. Well, I think that's a personal decision. As her parents, you have to say, you know your child best, and you're going to know if your child is ready or not. It certainly can be, you don't have to actually introduce the phone into their lives to start the conversation, however. You can start talking about it at age 10 and determine when that time is going to be right to actually bring the phone to the table and let them have it. But you can certainly start that conversation now, teaching them the responsible way to handle the phone, manage the phone. That can be done right now at age 10. You don't have to wait until they actually have the phone in their hand and in their possession. So I'm actually going to take a minute here to show you a tool that I think you all should be aware of if you do have kids who have a phone. I'm just going to turn this around, show you my oh, I got to take it out of the tripod. Okay, so this is an app, and it's called Vault app. And our kids are also amateur radio operators. Communication etiquette and maturity is developed. Yeah, well, I think there's all kinds of ways to teach this, but the phone is one. Amateur radio, if they're out there in any way, phone, even being on gaming devices, they can be having conversations with people on gaming devices. So keep that in mind. But this is something that we all need to be aware of. It's called a Vault app, or a Photo Vault. This can show up as a calculator on your child's phone. And I think it's something that as parents we need to look for. Of course, we don't want to we don't want to not trust our children, but we need to keep them game chats. Yeah, exactly, game chats. So we need to be aware of things like this. This actually allows them to hide photos behind this little calculator app. So it's a calculator app, looks like this. I'm just going to scroll down. You can access it by pressing a button, entering a passcode, and pressing the button again, and it allows you access to the photos. So it's kind of scary if you think about it from a parent's perspective, because your child can be hiding things from you that you may not know about, and they could be photos that they're taking of themselves and sharing with others. And this is not something that obviously we want, but we need to open the lines of communication and let them know why these photos should not be taken, why they shouldn't hide them. And if we're opening those lines of communication and sharing with them how to handle their phone usage responsibly, then they're not going to be so inclined to hide it from us. But these apps are out there. They're Vault apps. Please share this with your followers, by the way, if you think this would be helpful to them, because I think this, as parents, we need to know these things exist. And please share this on Twitter. Be aware of all dangerous apps. Yes, and I'm going to be doing more and more scoping about other dangerous apps that we all need to be aware of. But this is a particularly dangerous one because with the in the wrong hands, they could be sharing and hiding photos from you that you're not aware of and sharing these with their friends. And there's a lot more that we have to know about this. But if you're developing that relationship with your children where they feel like they can come to you, they feel like they can share with you, they're not going to be so inclined to hide things. And that's the only thing good about this app for them, from their perspective, is hiding things. We don't want them to feel the need to do that. So if we are, turn it back to me, if we are opening those lines of communication, thank you very much for sharing. If we're opening those lines of communication, then our kids aren't going to feel so inclined to want to hide from us. They're going to be more inclined to want to talk to us and communicate and share what's going on with them. So keep that in mind. If you are on the fence of whether or not to give your children a phone or allow them usage of a phone, then please keep in mind that opening the lines of communication even before you're ready is a good idea. So they know they can come to you with questions. They can come to you if their friends are doing things that maybe they shouldn't, and they can know that they understand that you're a person that would be a person they can lean on for support in this, because they're going to go to somebody. They're going to be asking their friends if they're not asking you. So better to be asking you, right? Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. We can't avoid all the tricks. Guide them with the least force possible. Exactly, Eric, you got the right message. That's exactly the right point. We need to guide them as best as possible. That's our jobs as parents. Let them know that we're here as much to support them and love them and guide them as possible. We're not here to, if we're controlling them or telling them, no, you can't do something, what's anyone's inclination? Your inclination is to want to find out more about that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, anyway, I'm going to be scoping more about this because I think there's more about apps that we need to be aware of for our kids' safety. And, apps are not necessarily a bad thing. We just need to teach responsibility and good usage. So the more that we learn about it as parents, have to be consistent, set that example. So right, Eric. Definitely. Thank you, Words Kelly. We're just wrapping up here, but I invite you to watch the replay. We were talking a little bit about when is a good age for introducing phones and apps. Yes. And we are, wrapping this up, but I invite you to watch that replay and share with your followers because this is important information for all of us as parents. Thank you very much for joining me today and have a wonderful afternoon. I'll be talking to you tomorrow. Take care.